What's going on, everyone? This is Gaurav and welcome to my learning channel. So in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the top reasons why you should not become a data analyst. Now, don't get me wrong. I am all up for people following their dreams and really going after it. But having said so, there are certain not so flashy aspects of a data industry that you should be aware of. And once you go through those, then you should make up your mind if this is something that you would like to explore. Reason number one, if you're getting into this industry, then you will have to be a constant self-learner. And I really mean it. So at this point in time, let's say if you're getting into this industry, then for the next 5, 10, 20 years, you will have to be constantly on your toes, constantly updating your skills. And there is a reason behind it. If you compare data science with any of the other industry, like say for instance, finance, medicine, transportation, all of those industries have been there for at least 50 to 100 years and even more. Now, all of these industries have had their own growth spurts. I'm not saying that there is not enough development happening in these industries. It's just that they're in a fairly stable state. As compared to data science, or data analysis is in the fairly baby stage and there's a lot of disruption happening. And as a result of that, if you're working in this industry, then you won't find a lot of structured information all in one place. So say for instance, you're working in a project, you might find yourself in a position where you want to explore a completely new technique, which let's say is really a buzzword at this point in time. It's very much possible that you will not have all of the information collated in one place. And at that point in time, if you reach out to your partnering team or your leadership or your juniors, it's very much possible that even they don't know. And if that being the case, then you will have to explore some of these things on yourself, and internet might be your best friend. So if that's something that excites you, where you are on your own and you have to explore your own path, then this is definitely an industry for you. Otherwise, you are in for a rude awakening because you will have to deal with the uncertainty and unstructured problem on every single day. Second reason is you don't like coding. Now, you might have heard a lot recently that if you don't have the coding skills, it's totally fine. As long as you have the eye for the details, you have the problem solving skills, you have good communication skills, then you will do pretty good in the data industry, being a data analyst or being a data scientist. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that those core skills are not required to do good in this industry. Now, if you think that you're going to do good without having a good coding knowledge, but I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen, at least not for next 5, 10, 20 years. Now, I can give you some of the examples from the sistering industry. So if you take a look at the web development, be the front end part of it or the back end part of it, or even the data engineering, pretty much all of those work streams have been through this phase. Every time there's a new tool being launched, people start saying that we don't need the developers anymore. And as we move forward, you won't need any kind of developers. And here we are. Take a look at the job industry. Software engineers, computer scientists, data engineer. These are some of the really sought after job positions. They are also highly paid. So I must say, if you want to survive and do good in this industry, then you should get very, very comfortable with coding. But with that said, I completely understand if you don't have any coding background, you might actually feel intimidated to get into the whole coding environment. And if that is your scenario, then I would say just to start with something very simple and then keep on adding things on top of it. And for that, I have made a video, the step-by-step process on how to get into the data analysis industry. So definitely check that out. But the conclusion for this point is, if you are working in this industry, then expect that about 50 to 70% of your time will be dealing with codes. So definitely get comfortable with that. Next reason is you don't like manual repetitive work. Now, if you're working in a data industry, you will realize for any of the typical analysis or any of the typical project, more than 50% of the time is actually related to data preparation. And this would entail extracting the information from different sources, bringing it all to the common platform, merging the data, cleaning the data, doing the quality checks, and then finally summarizing the data. Once you're done with all of that, then at that point in time, your data analysis starts, which is 20 to 30% of your overall time, which you will devote to any of the project. And while you're doing all of these exercises, you might actually find yourself in a situation where you will realize once you have completed like few of the steps, you actually forgot about one particular critical variable. So you might need to go back and sort of extract the data again and redo all of those steps. Now, you might actually think that if this is such a repetitive task, then why not automate it? And that's a good point. Lots of different organizations, they are investing heavily to automate the data preparation steps. And I think we have made a considerable amount of progress in the last few years. But with that said, every analysis, every project is unique in itself. When you're working on any of the new project, you will realize that a considerable amount of your time will go into data preparation. So if you're working in this industry, be very comfortable doing that manual grunt work, which is fairly repetitive again and again for one project or multiple different projects. And the last but not the least is you're not good in communication or you don't like interacting with people. Now, in order to understand the importance of communication in data industry, you need to take a look at the life cycle of a typical project. So usually a project will start with an idea. Now, this could be your own idea or the idea that was generated by your partnering team, or it could be your leadership. Irrespective of who came up with the idea, eventually it will come to you. Once the relevant people share the details of the idea, it will be in a fairly unstructured state. So you'll be expected to convert that into analysis, define what will be some of the success KPIs for the project, and then get started working on it. Now, while you're working on the project, you will have to keep your partners and your leadership updated with all the progress that you're making. And once your analysis is complete, then you'll be expected to package it and share your findings with your own team, with your leadership. Now, the important thing to note here is that while you're interacting with all of these different people from different teams, you will have to speak their language. So say, for instance, if you're sharing the details of your analysis with the marketing team, you're not expected to share the details like P value, Z value, T value, etc. But rather, you have to explain the business benefit, what were some of the key steps that you took as an analysis, and how you're going to productionalize it. But at the same time, when you're interacting with your data engineers, with your technologies team, you will have to talk about the technicalities of things, which could be very much related to the which data set to use, which variables to use, and things like that. So if you're working in this industry, you should be very comfortable working with people from different background and constantly interacting with them and collaborating with them to come up with the final solution. I hope I didn't scare you too much. Personally, I have been working in this industry for the last 15 years. I have had my own fair share of ups and downs. If you give me an option that I can go back in time and change my decision to work in this industry, my answer is going to be flat no. I love this industry. There's a lot of learning, there's a lot of opportunity, and the near future is definitely going to be very fascinating for this industry. I feel like working in this industry is like getting on a stairs which is going in the upward direction. While it might be a little bit tiring, but you are definitely going to keep on going up and up. So hopefully this video gave you some clarity whether or not you want to explore this industry. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me. I wish you best of the luck. Thank you.